is that we have members of the media who were complicit in this from the very beginning, who were leaked early copies of this, or at least lines from this January 2017 Obama manufactured intelligence assessment. They printed what they were fed. People like Ellen Nakashima from the Washington Post, who, by the way, went on to win a Pulitzer Prize because for years she was so good at lying and not telling the truth to the American people that they gave her an award for it. These people are still here. Ellen Nakashima is still harassing people who work within the intelligence community who are calling up and reporting her, using burner phones to try to ask them harassing questions.
So I want you to hear this. This is what CNN did. Ready? Listen to this.
Multiple intelligence community assessments released in the months leading up to the November 2016 election concluded that Russia had neither the intent nor capability to impact the outcome of the U.S. election. On December 5th.
We've been listening there to the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, continuing on what has now been a multi-day effort, not only with public statements like this, but release of documents, to attempt to back up the quite extreme allegation that President Obama is guilty of treason and that he worked in some sort of conspiracy with Hillary Clinton, etc., in the assessment by the intelligence community at the time that Russia interfered in the 2016 election.
We have no idea.
They can't, well, I was going to say they can't help themselves. No, they can. They refuse. They refuse to be honest. Well, she's making some kind of thing for the next, she's off on a tangent. Yeah, she can't help herself. She's cuckoo, okay? And it's extreme. Her attempt to tie in Obama. We know, hey, we're at CNN, we're going to tell you. She can't do it. There's nothing there. But you fail to even let anybody hear it. If there was nothing there, everybody in the CNN audience should have said, well, if there's nothing there, if it's a big nothing burger, why can't we hear it? Why, as soon as she started rattling off the things, did you guys bail? Oh, hit the button. But it went further.
Yeah, I mean, this is hardly information that we should even be repeating. Never mind that it's, some years after the fact, 8 years more than that.
We shouldn't even be talking about this. Never mind the fact that it was 8 years ago. It's old news. Forget about it. When did President Trump had his tryst with Stormy Daniels? When was that? You see, they'll dig up all kinds of dirt on people they don't want to cover for. You know, we talked about it earlier, Brett Kavanaugh. Let's go back and find out if he did cake parties in high school. Oh my God, a cake party in high school. We're talking about the biggest crime ever perpetrated against the United States, and CNN immediately says, well, we shouldn't even be talking about it. It's irrelevant.
After the fact, but also just to look at the source. But look, this is the...
The source was them. That's the biggest joke in all. Oh, yeah, look at the source. The source isn't Tulsi Gabbard. The source isn't Caroline Leavitt. The source were the documents that they put out that were Obama, Clapper, Brennan, Hillary, James Comey. Those were the sources. What do you mean? You got to look at the source. That's what we want to do. We want to look at the source. We want to dig into all these people and find out specifically what they knew, when they knew it, and why they hid it. So you're actually basically exposing yourself as a hack. You gotta look at the source. That's what we're supposed to do. You're trying to say, it's something that Tulsi made up. She's giving you the documents. But they don't want to see that.
What this White House wants to talk about, and I'm not sure that we should spend that much more time on it, frankly.
Yeah. I mean, listen.
Luckily, it's not up to you. I don't think we should be spending that much more time on it. Said nobody in control. Says some guy standing out in front of a camera. Not the American people. We shouldn't even be talking about it. I cannot even fathom that I heard a national news network actually say that. So now, every single one of you should 100% know she's not over the target. She's dropping nukes on the target. We now know, just by their reaction, this is devastating. They didn't tell them to go cover it up. They told them just pretend like it didn't even happen. Don't even give people the time of day. We shouldn't even be talking about it anymore. Okay, so what time is the soccer game or something? Can we cut to the soccer game? Because, wait a second, what's in my ear? Oh, there's a parade. There's a parade in Iowa. Let's go to the parade. Are you kidding me? This is a Streisand effect times 10. You basically told your entire audience, nothing to see here. Don't worry about it. Just move on. It's irrelevant. If their audience moves on, if their audience is that stupid, then you know for a fact there is no way possible half the country can come back from the delusion that they've been under for the last, 17 years. When a guy can look you in the eye and say, don't even look it up. It's irrelevant. Let's not even talk about it. Let's move on.
That's
what you think?
Yeah, sure. Sorry about that. I thought you were going to play another piece of her comment.
Okay, so this is how bad the CNN audience is. After everything that just got exposed, after all the information Tulsi has been putting out there, CNN brings on one of the people implicated in it as the expert as to why you shouldn't be paying any attention. They brought out Andy McCabe, fired from the FBI, worked number 2 under James Comey, to tell you why you shouldn't pay any attention to a complete treasonous action that he partook in. Is there something wrong here? Did you really just bring this guy out?
So it's really, Brianna, it's really hard to try to sort through the confusion that seems to be surrounding the DNI's comments. But I will say my opinion at this point is what the DNI has conflated are 2 separate conclusions about levels of about lines of investigation that were happening at the same time. So to put it simply, we were deeply concerned about what the Russians were doing to target
There should be a disclaimer running. Here's one of the guys who may be indicted. And his next sentence was pretty damning. He just admitted, I was part of it, but what we're doing is, you don't really understand. This is like top-level secret stuff, and you're too stupid to understand. So what we were doing was trying to stop the big orange guy. The big orange guy was bad, really bad. And because he was a Nazi, and he's a fascist, and he's a racist, and he's an abuser, because he's all these things, everything we did's okay. Brianna, you can take it from here.
election in 2016. And ultimately what we concluded is they did a lot of different things. And don't take my opinion for it. The Mueller report is sitting right there on the shelf behind me. You can get your own. It's about 400 pages. It begins with the conclusion that the Russians, in a sweeping and systematic fashion, interfered with the election. Some of the ways they did that was by sending undercovers here to the United States to travel around the country and find out what people thought. They established the internet.
So his explanation is to go look at the Mueller report, the one with the guy who wears diapers and needs a bib. The old guy they brought out there who is, and they want you to forget what you've just seen. Go look at the Mueller report, which we got forged, and we got put this drooling idiot in charge of. That's what they're trying. Now it's redirection. Hey, I got it sitting right behind me. It says I didn't do anything wrong. Signed my mom. Because it might as well have your mom do it if you're going to rely on Mueller. See, that's another thing. I need to go ahead and download the Mueller tape so people can actually remember. We're going to need some refreshing of the memories here. Because if he's talking about Mueller, then you now need to see Mueller. I need to get the Mueller hearing, so you can see when he goes, what's your name? Robert, how do you spell your last name? The guy, I mean, it was literally that bad. So, Robert, when you looked into this, what did you find? I don't remember. But now he's telling the audiences in 2025, that guy wrote this thing, and you should believe that. What about the stuff he didn't put in the report, Andy? You see, the documents that Tulsi has and has been showing everybody, somehow it never made it into the Mueller report. So you're reading a half of a recipe. You're reading a recipe for pineapple upside down cake, and it doesn't tell you to put it upside down. So if you didn't put all the documents that she had into the report, then the report isn't worth the money we Americans paid for it. But their audience doesn't even know that.
Research agency to create fake accounts on social media platforms and to try to influence Americans' sentiment about the election in that way. They performed a hack and dump campaign in which they targeted political institutions with their cyber operators, and they stole information from places like the DNC. They attempted to do it in the RNC as well. So a lot of different lines of that.
My God. The propaganda, the BS, the MK Ultra, call it what you want, that this guy is spewing when we already see the documents say it wasn't true. So you can see what's about to happen here. The Americans who want to listen to these nuts are about to be subject to, arguably, the biggest mind control, propaganda, gaslighting campaign ever seen by man. You don't need to see it. It's only about these extremists. These maggots are the ones who want to see this stuff. And you got to remember, we did the Mueller report and everything is fine. Look, I'm not in jail. I got to go. I make a couple $100,000 a year sitting here on CNN. So everything must be okay. And here's what really happened. And I'll just make it up because you can't prove it. You are just going to have to rely on the Mueller report. What about this stuff Tulsi has? You see, one of the things I noticed very quickly in all the cover-up that they're doing in the last hour or two is they can't refute what she has. So they're telling you, you're an idiot for even looking at it. Because here's what's really happening. But if you don't have the discernment to know you're being bamboozled, you're not going to be able to understand what you're about to be subject to. Your inoculation, your personal kryptonite, or lack of kryptonite, your immunity drug, is going to be reading this information for yourself, because none of them are discounting the information in the report. They're just telling you, don't look at it. Look over here. Don't look over there. Look over here. Look at me. I'm Andy McCabe. We did this and we did that, and I'm still here. I'm not in jail.
One of them was they actually targeted the state electoral infrastructure. So many states were the victims of malicious Russian cyber activity. They tried to sneak their way into these state electoral systems to understand what was going on. In a few states, they got into voter registration rolls, which was very concerning. But what they didn't get into were any of the machines.
You see the CNN guy? CNN guy's like, yup, that's what happened. Yup. He was sitting there nodding. This woman never smiles. She always looks like she's constipated, and she's smiling. This is really bad. And if you don't look out for yourselves, you're going to be in big, deep trouble. This is going to be epic, what they do to the American people. You know, we always said they wouldn't cover it. They're not. They've gone into anti-coverage. Amazing.
That are necessary to change the results of the election. And here comes the confusion. So on that line of inquiry, there was a pretty clear consensus across the intelligence community that the Russians had not succeeded in trying to change the results of the election.
Oh,
that did not change our conclusion that they did many other things to influence the outcome of the election. So she is trying to say that because we concluded they didn't actually have an impact on the vote tally, that is somehow contradicting our overall conclusion that they made several efforts to try to impact the election.
Now, remember, that was what Obama said. And so now they're taking that Obama line, which came out of nowhere. Now they're just saying, oh, we got all this stuff, but yeah, they didn't do anything with the vote. We never said that. Yeah, you did. That's specifically what you said. Now they're trying a whole different spin, and they even have the anchors of CNN going, just a nod affirmatively to make sure the audience sees a secondary underscoring of what the guy is saying. Yep, that's what happened. Yep, we know. You know, don't listen to these people with Tulsi Gabbard. We know what happened.
Years I can go to figure out what she's talking about.
Andy, there were a short while ago.
All right, so, but it doesn't stop. The information continues. It just keeps coming. Listen to what John Solomon got.
News obtained this email. This is a very important email. It comes from the former CIA director, Mike Morrell. Yes, the guy that organized that letter from the 51 intelligence professionals who tried to fake you into thinking that the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation when it wasn't. It is between him and John Brennan, one of the signatories. You know who John Brennan is? He was Obama's CIA director, right? He's the guy that told Obama, hey, Hillary Clinton is doing a dirty trick on Donald Trump called Russia collusion. Well, this is just before the presidential debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Hunter Biden's laptop is flinging out there. This is what Mike Morrell, former CIA director, tells his successor, John Brennan, hey, sign this letter because I'm, quote, trying to give the campaign, particularly during the debate on Thursday, a talking point to push back on Trump on this issue. A man with a security clearance, a man with the title of CIA director, knew that he wasn't creating an intelligence product, a mere civic duty with 51 people. He was trying to create a political moment. Damning evidence. We'll try to find out if Congress has this letter, but this is a very important piece. It is the ultimate proof that what went out on that letter was a political dirty trick coordinated.
Paul Sperry came out with this and says, Brennan sent a fusion cell memo to Obama on the eve of the 2016 election, summarizing all the compartmented intel gathered on Trump and Russia, and it made no mention of Putin aspiring for a Trump victory. His November 6th memo actually concluded Putin expected Clinton to win. You see, they're trying to deflect, and I guess the Wall Street Journal didn't learn their lesson. They're out there, everyone's talking about that Trump's name is on the Epstein list. And so you've got two warring factions happening right now, trying to be, who's got the most news. This is much bigger. They can try and deflect all they want. This is much bigger. It's so much bigger. Let me show you why it's so much bigger. The Justice Department announced, while we were watching that, the formation of a strike force to assess evidence publicized by Tulsi Gabbard. Today, the Department of Justice announced the formation of a strike force to assess the evidence publicized by DNI Tulsi Gabbard and investigate potential next legal steps which might stem from the information. The department takes alleged weaponization of intelligence community with the utmost seriousness. Upon the formation of the strike force, Attorney General Pamela Bondi stated, "The Department of Justice is proud to work with my friend Director Gabbard, and we are grateful for her partnership in delivering accountability for the American people. We will investigate these troubling disclosures fully and leave no stone unturned to deliver justice." I know we don't want to keep hearing about investigations, but now is the time for Kash Patel and Dan Bongino to shine. They need to dig their heels in, get their claws sharpened. This is your red meat. Everyone's looking at you right now. You got to get it done.